All right. Hello and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. My name is Token Carter, and I am located in Ohio. I work for Franklin County Justice Policies and Programs. I'm going to be your moderator for tonight. And as you can see on the screen, some of my background information. I am a licensed professional counselor. I work under the Franklin County Board of Commissioners. And also, I am a council member for our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office. And then I'm also a chairwoman for our Women in Leadership board for Franklin County. So tonight I'm going to be your social justice keynote speaker. And I am so excited to be here to introduce um, someone who's very near and dear to my heart, who has been such an amazing pillar and staple woman in her community where she is with you guys in Brookhaven. Um, Hilerie Lid, I'm going to bring her up and she's going to introduce herself.
Hey everybody, this is Hilerie Lynn. I'm here with BLD Radio. I'm running for mayor and I really need your support to really help me win this race. Please support my campaign by sharing my information on social media. You can also check out my website at hilarielynn.com and my Instagram at hilarielynn_for Brookhaven. Without your support and donations, I won't be able to win this race. So I really need you. Again, go to my website, hilarielynn.com, and support the campaign. Thank you.
Awesome. So let's enjoy a short clip here from our girl Hilerie Lid.
Hey man, if you're not voting for Hilerie Lynn, then what are you doing?
You should vote for Hilerie Lynn. If you knew better, you do better.
Vote Hilerie for mayor. Yeah.
Tapping in to let y'all know that I'll be voting for my girl, Hilerie Lynn, for mayor of Brookhaven. Period. Her character is just what Brookhaven, Georgia could use.
My name is Hilerie Lynn and I'm running for mayor in Brookhaven. And I'm really trying to get my face and my name out here to let the community know that I am here to support them. Vote for the change that you need in Brookhaven. Vote for the change that looks like you and sounds like you. On November 7th, head to the polls to vote for me, Hilerie Lynn, your next mayor of Brookhaven.
All right. Let's go ahead and bring Hilerie Lid up so that she can get into some of the most amazing information that she's going to provide for you guys in your community in Brookhaven. And just bear with us here as we get our technology organized. Oh, yes. Welcome to this main stage, Hilerie Lid, our next mayor for Brookhaven.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for bearing with us through these technical difficulties tonight. But I do appreciate everyone coming on and joining us and taking some time away from your Friday evening where you could probably be doing something else. But I appreciate you joining us on this call. I'm happy to be here to discuss with you why I want to run, why I'm running for mayor in Brookhaven, and why I am the best candidate for the job. Initially, running for mayor really wasn't at the forefront of my mind. My life was really just consumed with motherhood and being a business owner and an employee. And though I always had aspirations to continue my political journey in leadership and hold public office one day, I just didn't realize that that time would be now. But since April, I have been paying attention to the upcoming mayoral election and going back and forth with myself on whether or not it was the right time to run. Throughout this time, I began to reach out to some prominent people within my community to get some guidance on whether I should run or not. And though everyone felt that I was the perfect candidate, I was unsure if it was the right time. After some time with God and taking a look at my opponents, I felt like I would be doing the city of Brookhaven a disservice by deciding not to run for mayor. So I made that decision to put my hat into the race. And with my background in politics and criminal justice, business, public health, and being a servant leader, I know that I am the best equipped for the job. By being the best equipped for the job, I will also be the most transparent, have integrity, and truly work for the people of the city and not for my own personal or career aspirations. You know, when I first began talking about why I was running and the issues that were the most important to me, I talked about a lot about the resources in the city and the lack of it for its residents. I've met with so many different families that have been displaced and affected by the rising cost of rental fees and the cost of everything else around them, including groceries, gas, utilities, and basic necessities. Now, I can't say that I will change these things immediately when I enter office, but what I will do is partner with agencies and organizations and other local leaders to create resources to be able to mitigate these costs for so many families that's just looking for a moment of reprieve. Since January of 2023, 72,600 evictions have been reported in the metro Atlanta area. In June alone, there were 11,159 evictions that occurred. With the eviction process, it can typically happen between 24 hours and 60 days. This has been devastating for most families in the metro area, including in Brookhaven. The state minimum wage is $5.15 an hour, with a federal minimum wage being $7.25, but a salary of at least $50,000 is necessary to live in Brookhaven. But when you add in the cost of childcare, food, and God forbid you having a medical issue, you're living paycheck to paycheck, or even worse. Let's just say you had to miss work because you or your child fell ill. Your paycheck is smaller. Now you're left with a choice between food or paying your rent. Making the choice to feed your family instead of paying your rent could potentially have you and your loved ones out on the street. This isn't a decision that people of this city should have to make. Over the last few years, the city of Brookhaven have seen an increase in its homeless population. It's not shocking since the cost of rent has gone up 31% in the metro area in the last 5 years. As your mayor for the next 8 years, I plan to change this. I want to put the proper resources in place where they truly belong to help the people of this city, the people that's built this city. You know, I recently met the current mayor the other day, and the realization of his ineffectiveness was realized in that day. One of the responsibilities of a mayor is to help his residents to thrive. He told me blatantly that covering and assisting the thousands of residents that are facing eviction in the city was not the city's responsibility, and that resources to residents will remain limited until an annexation takes place. I would hope that the citizens of Brookhaven will want a mayor that's impassioned when it comes to community and not one that would rather have conversations and broker deals behind closed doors without input from the community. Like the current mayor, in addition to creating resources, homelessness prevention, I also hope to implement the following initiatives.
Thank you so much, Hillary. And I'm really glad that the focus of your campaign is really diving deep into what matters to the community, as the community is the driving force behind everything that's going on where we all live. We all have responsibilities to our families, we all have responsibilities from our day to day lives. And I think it's great that your vision starts with the needs of the community. Um, as we transition here into the next portion, we are going to bring up some community questions. Um, some of them might be personal to you, some of them may not. Some of them may be more personalized for your neighbors. However, I'm really glad to see that being a part of the community and also the youth, the financial literacy, and also other programs is at the forefront of your campaign. So, one of the questions from the community is crime in the area. So, Hillary, my question also is, how do you plan to kind of mitigate the crime and the police there in Brookhaven?
I understand the overwhelming need for more of a police presence in many of the communities. I also understand the lack of trust that many people in the community have with the police. Creating space to allow the community and the police department to build relationships through community policing is the easiest transition into seeing a change in the community. But also, I really want to be able to dive deep into the expenditures of the $13 million budget that the police department currently has, because some of this can be utilized by creating programs and initiatives that will better serve the community, such as community policing. Now, there's currently a community policing program, but I would like to expand upon that to create a mentorship program that partners department officers with youth within the community, an officer-led program that is designed to educate citizens on Brookhaven ordinances on a quarterly basis. Those citizens are responsible for their knowledge of the law. A true leader will be willing to partner with the community to ensure that there is awareness of the laws. Expanding the existing community policing program and mentorship program would not only allow for it will prevent potential crimes, but also allow for officers to become familiar with the community and allow the community to trust them, especially in communities that are more diverse and less likely to trust the police.
Thank you so much. So, our next question would be, what are some of your other views that you have that have come up recently with what happened in Brookhaven?
So the annexation, I think that with the annexation, it was more of a money focused effort and an attempt to defraud the public in secret. City leadership failed to inform the public, just as they had purposely obstructed the progress of a redevelopment project along Buford Highway, costing the city almost $7 million. The city will advance the money for those projects to assess roads, stormwater, infrastructure, and parks over about a year and reports the cost of those improvements. Though the city is promising that it will bring in money, that won't happen until the city pays out a possible millions of dollars in assessments and repairs, money that could actually be used to provide better resources to the citizens that are already in the city. I believe that this annexation attempt was a purposeful attempt at intentionally trying to displace families, especially those that live along the Buford Highway corridor. Instead of annexation, I think that we should focus more on allocating city funding to create programs that are designed to prevent eviction, as I stated earlier, homelessness prevention, and assist families in financial management instead of this focus. I think the focus should be placed more on proper development of the community and resources that stabilize and sustain the city. An overall strategy for future annexations to incorporate the public's view and idea of proposed annexation, proposing an opportunity for the citizens to support that idea through voting. I think it's important that we allow the community to participate in these conversations instead of having these conversations behind closed doors like current leadership. The credibility behind the entire effort is non-existent. No one can say with 100% certainty who actually proposed those efforts, as individuals had been canvassing for ideas, and they couldn't even say who brought those opportunities to the table. Now, knowing now that I had a meeting with the mayor the other day, I now know that those conversations were happening behind closed doors because they were efforts that they had in their mind would take place after annexation happened. But thankfully, the public became aware of this, and that was halted. So going forward, when I become your mayor, I would have these conversations with the public and allow the public to vote on that.
I really like that you are choosing to bring the community to the table and make them a part of the discussion. I think a lot of times people are not really taking advantage of making the people that make up the community a part of the solution. So I really love that. And I also love that you mentioned that there's going to be programs to kind of enhance your community. I think that will help cut down on a lot of other issues that come up when you actually build your community. So hats off to you, Hilerie.
Thank you.
Our next question here is, what makes you experienced enough to run for mayor?
Well, I have an extensive experience at local, state, and federal levels. I'm resolute in my mission to unlock Brookhaven's true potential. I've proven this through my experience with Georgia's State Health Improvement Plan and the Community Health Improvement Plan, where I have the opportunity to meet with all of Georgia's 18 health districts to present on those plans. I spearheaded the development of Georgia's Health Equity page to amplify the science-based health information. Through the COVID-19 pandemic, I volunteered multiple times with the CDC Emergency Operations Center, COVID-19 response. I assumed roles like the operations manager, clearance manager, and regional liaison officer, as well as a goals lead. I effectively collaborated with federal and state partners to share vital information and metrics. My impact extended to crafting briefings for the Operation Warp Speed leadership and advising them on risk mitigation and reporting my findings directly to the White House. Beyond my public health accomplishments, I've been in the financial industry for over 15 years, including roles on the federal and state level. As I'm a devoted member of my community, I've actively participate with DeKalb County Schools East Blocks Committee, and I've also held several roles with the PTO at my son's school for the last 5 years. So I actually got my start and found my love for community during the 2008 presidential election, working for a former minority leader who is also the current U.S. Representative Joyce Beatty. So the bug bit me early, community bit me early, and I think now, all these years later in this position, I feel like I have the background and the experience necessary to lead my community.
And thank you for that. Are there any other final thoughts that you want to add along to your amazing resume in public service for your
Yes.
community?
Yes, I actually want to go back a bit. I didn't touch on the initiatives, but I actually want to speak about the initiatives. I want to talk about the other things outside of the resources that I plan to bring to families that are wanting to stay in Brookhaven, but they just don't have the financial backing to do that. On top of that, I plan to improve the work conditions, advance opportunities for profitable employment, ensure work-related benefits and rights are transparent to the community. I want to be able to create a community diversion program that addresses the poverty, substance abuse, and mental health concerns. I also want to make sure that there is staff with the police department that can directly mitigate the mental health concerns instead of solely relying on police officers to deal with the mental health issues of our community. I want to be able to expand the community police program, as I said, to include a mentorship program, creating financial literacy and entrepreneurship initiatives, a first-time home ownership program, similar to what the city of Atlanta has. I want to be able to partner with other organizations in the city of Brookhaven to create first-time home ownership programs and programs that mitigate homelessness. I want to be able to mitigate the overwhelming cost of childcare. And want to create youth employment and internship programs within the city. I think it's important that while in high school and even college, that young people have an opportunity to look at different careers that they may not have thought of, and that opportunity being going into the different offices within city government and seeing how it is to do that job so that they can decide what they want to do with the rest of their lives instead of waiting till they graduate high school and going to college. I want to be able to expand the housing intervention programs that include those income-based apartments that similar to what the city of Atlanta has. I want to create programs that allow for transparency in government by allowing the community to become a part of the judicial system in local government outside of their civic duties. So being able to be trained and properly educated on the laws and governances within the city of Brookhaven. I want to be able to invest in the 911 system to determine why the calls are being rerouted, not answered, or simply delayed. I also want to be able to create programs that are geared towards assisting families with special needs.
And honestly, I really love the fact that a lot of your programs are geared towards community development and also the social justice environment, the healthcare reform, and also just helping people become better citizens in their own community. So,
Yeah.
you're doing a great job. You have
Touch on one more thing. Um, right now, everyone is in the midst of peril, it seems. There's so many strikes going on and the potential government shutdown. We have UAW, that strike with so many blue collar workers who put cars on the road for us every day and keep us safe. They are currently striking because they have not had a raise since 2008. And I think it's important that although those organizations aren't here in Georgia physically, they affect us on so many different levels. All of the local unions affect us. And so I stand in solidarity with UAW and all the other local unions, including the current writer strike as well. I stand in solidarity with them, and people should be paid a fair wage no matter where they live so that they can sustain. I also want to speak on the current government shutdown. I think it's important for people in the community to call on their senators, call on Congress to change things, to put their foot down and to stop the government shutdown, because just like the strike with UAW, that will affect so many people and so many different families. So I think it's imperative that everybody call their local congressman to tell them to end this shutdown before it begins. The shutdown is supposed to begin on Sunday, and I implore you to reach out to your local congressman. I also want to say one more thing. In leadership, I want to be as transparent as possible. And I think as constituents, I think it's important that we know that our local leaders work for us, not even your local leaders, but your leaders in general. They work for you. You vote them in office and they simply work for you. And I want you to know when you're not getting your needs met in the community, I think it's important for you to reach out to your leaders. And if your mayor isn't helping you, reach out to your state leaders. And if they're not helping you, reach out on the federal level. I kind of want to share a small story with you before we go. I have a good friend who wasn't getting some of the needs that they met, their needs met on the local level, and they couldn't get anyone to help them. They had contacted countless organizations and no one was helping them. No one cared. But myself, because I call on my leadership that I voted in, where my taxes pay their salary, I know that I can call on leaders to get the change that I need met. And so I actually reached out to Senator John Ossoff's office, who I've reached out to many times. But this time I reached out on behalf of my friend, and they worked on his behalf tirelessly to get his needs met. And I think it's so wonderful that he got the things that he needed. But I think what most excited him about this process today, Senator John Ossoff made a personal phone call to him to make sure that he was okay. And as a leader, you don't expect your leaders to call you. You don't expect your senators to call you. So I think that that was very thoughtful and amazing. And so as your leader, I would do the same thing. I would be transparent with you, and I will work tirelessly on your behalf to ensure that your needs are being met.
Thank you, Hilerie. And I think that that transparency is going to be a great asset as people want to know that they are related to as long as you are being honest about your journey and where you want your people to go. Now we are going to open it up for additional questions from our guest. Please feel free to put any questions in the chat. And if you guys don't have any questions at the moment, we are going to go into a video.
Yes, I think the biggest thing for me, I want people to, the people in the community to really see through the fluff. See through, someone maybe being in a position for a significant amount of time. Actually see through that and see what a person's really going to do for you. Your mayor came to your community and really asked you what your needs were. Really pay attention to the people that really wants to change for you and it's not just running for themselves. I really want people to know that I'm that person. I'm one of them. So, thank you again for your time this morning. I'm sure we will have more encounters. Yes. So keep me posted on your website so that I can update the article online so people can go to your website and see. I have been a business owner, an accountant for over 15 years. I own several different companies. Family, I need y'all to help me. Share this video. Share the flyers. I'm not asking you for any more than that. But if you can, also donate to the campaign. And if you cannot, that's fine. But share, because I'm really on the ground doing the work, unlike my opponents. Help me to win. I'm controlling the narrative today. They're no longer going to be able to say what I did and I didn't say. I'm here for the people. I went to school and I did to work. How about y'all? How about my opponents? What have you done for your community today? I have served on the PTO in multiple capacities as my oldest is in the 5th grade. I've served in multiple capacities. And I also serve on the East Blocks Committee for the DeKalb County School District. Told me today that they don't know any current leaders, let alone any candidates. I was the first person that they've ever met, whether now or in previous elections. After going back to work after being deployed on the CDC COVID-19 vaccine task force, I also led the initial effort to design Georgia's health equity page, something that they have been lacking for a long time and not providing certain resources to most of the communities around Georgia. Good morning, everybody. I'm just here this morning, just for a second, just to provide you with some facts and to show you why I'm the only choice for mayor. Why I had to step up, because I would be doing the city a disservice by not running. So just a short moment, just a moment of your time. See, Mark Frost, he's only entertainment. He doesn't have the skills. He didn't even study for the forum. They provided us with questions and his answer was, I don't know. I'll get back to you on that. John Park, he's a part of the rogue establishment. I don't think I'll trust anybody who's attached to going to meet a 14-year-old in a city vehicle. And let's talk about the Toco Hills apology on the forum. She's not ready. And Lauren, what does she bring to the table besides art? She's a woman. I'll give her that. but she doesn't have an experience. She hasn't been here. She hasn't done this. Now me, I got the experience. I have the leadership experience. I reported risk and mitigations directly to the White House during the COVID-19 pandemic. I worked at the Ohio House of Representatives. I have the degrees. I have the knowledge. I've been doing this. I'm a part of the community. I'm you and you me. I've been here. You need to vote for me to be mayor of Brookhaven because we can't leave the city in the hands of people who don't have the skills, that don't care about community. You'll continue to be evicted. You'll continue to lose your home. Hilerie, I'm going to find your resources. I'm going to keep you in that house. I want to do this. I want to be here. Support me. And don't forget to come out on Friday. I can't wait to see you guys.
You just put out a campaign, what they call it, an ad, using the ether beat. Did you say any of that in that ether beat?
I did. I did. You know, I did actually. And you know what? You know what?
The ether track dropped, and the pictures start going in. Oh, I need to see that. You went straight in on the
I did, because it's like, you know what? I'm a black woman, right? I grew up in the era of hip hop. We are celebrating 50 years of hip hop, right? And hip hop is important to me. And my community is important to me. And I'm in Atlanta, I'm in Metro Atlanta, you know, the mecca of where black people is today. And so it's important for me to be me. It's important for me to embrace my community. And so I made that video in that vein because I am hip hop just like you are, you know, and so it's important for me to let my community know, like, this is me, I'm here. You know, I don't have to be somebody else to run to be mayor. I can be educated and have the experience and absolutely know a Jay-Z album from beginning to end. That is me.
But I told you this, like I told you this the first week when you announced, I said, hey man, don't get in that race and start acting crazy. Like if somebody asks you, you know how politicians do,
right?
They jump around questions, they don't answer them, they try to do something they not doing.
And what did I say? I'm gonna be me regardless. And I think that's the beauty in that. And I hope that the community sees that I am me, I am you. I am the community. You know, I'm in the trenches right here with you. I'm struggling right here with you. I got 2 kids with special needs. I'm being a parent by myself. You know, bills are past due. I'm paying them when I can. I am just like everybody else. And so I'm going to embrace who I am. I'm not going to abandon people that's made me who I am today for just to run to be mayor. But I do want other demographics to know that I am them too, you know, because black people aren't just one thing. We are so many other things. And so I plan to embrace other parts of the community as well. That video that I made was on purpose. It was definitely purposeful. I talked about it for several hours. We had marketing calls for several hours. I stayed up late deciding what I was going to say, what I was going to tap into. It was absolutely done on purpose. Come on, Brookhaven.
Just what you just said just now, man. Like, it sounds like you already ready. Like, it's whatever. And that's the mentality, like, you gotta have, man. You know what I mean? And like you said, you know, you've been through these things for a reason. And maybe this is the reason. This is the purpose now, like, for you to go on what you went through. Man, I'm just waiting on you to win, man. I'm just waiting on you to win. So, like, and even if it come up where you don't win, you still win, if that makes sense. So, do you get ready for a hell of a ride or whatnot? And like I said, man, I definitely can't wait to see it.
Hi, how you doing? How are you? Good. You live out here? I do, yeah. Are you registered to vote here in Brookhaven? Yeah. I'm running for mayor. So I wanted to come and pass out some flyers. You mind if I give you a flyer? Yeah, sure. So currently, I'm the current candidate in Brookhaven, Georgia. I'm the only Black candidate. I did get a late start because, again, like I wasn't sure that I was going to do that. Of course, that was always my goal. I've been a leader. I've been a servant leader for a long time, but I wasn't sure if I was actually going to get into the race. But people kept coming to me. People kept telling me to run. There were already candidates here in Brookhaven, but once I actually took a look at the candidates and the work that they've done and their lack of experience, I felt like I would actually be doing the city of Brookhaven a disservice by not jumping into the race. So, you know, I got all of my close friends and family on the call and announced my running for mayor.
So I think you answered a couple of my questions, just as far as like political aspirations and all that good stuff. But just as far as kind of digging into what your plan may be, what you want to accomplish while running for mayor, just give us a little glimpse of like what your platform is, like exactly what it is you want people in Brookhaven to know.
What I plan to bring to Brookhaven once I win the election is resources. I think it's easy to kind of Google the demographics of Brookhaven and say that this is a rich community and they got it, but that's actually not true. And in Georgia, there are laws in place where companies can raise rent as much as they want. And unfortunately, local leadership is not allowed to create moratoriums or rent increases. So which means if my landlord wants to raise my rent another $3,000, they're allowed to do that. And so it's really important to me that resources are in place. During COVID, you know, a lot of us struggled. I struggled especially, and I have a lot of friends and a lot of my children's parents, they're currently struggling. And when you go to the City of Brookhaven's website, resources literally don't exist. There's not one type of resource that exists to help you if you're getting evicted, to help you with your utilities, none of that. If you own a home, there's no mortgage assistance. All there is links to other organizations to now defunct programs. So those things don't exist. And I checked in 2020 when COVID started, and I checked again last week. I checked again today. Those resources do not exist. So people are continuing to get evicted. You go outside, somebody's whole apartment is outside. They don't care. So it's important to me that resources are actually in place. Financial literacy programs are created, and first-time homeowners programs are created. So we're not displacing the people that built this community. We're helping them, allowing them to thrive, and allowing them to become homeowners so they can keep their foot in here in Brookhaven as well.
Are those resources not being created because of the assumption that areas don't need it?
No, that's not why. Those resources aren't being provided and created because in their mindset, if you can't afford to live in Brookhaven, you don't need to live in Brookhaven. We don't want you here if you can't afford it. And unfortunately, our community, we started Brookhaven. We were here before it became a city. And so for me, I'm not going to allow myself, my children, anybody that looks like me to be displaced because certain members of leadership and certain people in my community feel like we don't deserve to live here.
We went over to town Brookhaven to start passing out flyers. I obviously don't know what I'm doing. I didn't really prepare. I didn't call stores ahead of time, so we couldn't really go inside to pass out flyers. But I did meet with the manager at the movie theater, so he's going to allow us to have a town meeting and a meet and greet there, so which is great, which is actually what we really needed. So I got that answer today, even though I didn't know I was sectioned for it. Now we're actually in an apartment complex where I used to live at, knocking on doors and passing out flyers. Yeah, just trying to make sure I introduce myself to people. If they answer the door, if I see them outside.
We take turns. Stop. We take turns. You won't get us in trouble doing this. Don't you know what I'm doing?
Next time, I won't bring my kids with me. They have been a lot. I was told to bring them with me when I canvass so people can see me as a mother and, you know, they're more apt to vote for me. But, you know, canvassing with not only just children, but children with special needs is very, very difficult.
And so the next time we go out, I think we're just gonna keep her in the house with the babysitter. I'm a little nervous. This is my first time doing this for me. You know, I've been on the street with other people that had years of experience doing this, and so I'm a little bit nervous, especially taking charge of everything that's going on. My campaign manager is in Ohio, so which makes it a little bit nerve-wracking. I think if I had her holding my hand, it'd be a little bit easier, but you know, I can do this. I've been through worse. I've done worse. Here are the flyers.
What would be the best advice you would give to me going forward?
Use discernment. Pay attention to the signs. The signs is always there. And when your spirit starts screaming, no, it's no. Don't force it. Don't go with it. You know, I'm not saying don't give people the benefit of the doubt. You always should. But the signs is always there.
All right. Well, we're coming to a close here. I'd like to thank everyone who was able to jump on the call and join. Also, I would like to say that I am Token Carter. I am here in Franklin County doing my best to be a representative of a mom, of providing resources and knowledge and empowering people as well. So I definitely would commend you guys to definitely uplift a person who is in your community doing the same thing. And as you've seen in the video, she's out here, she's outside, she's got the education, she's got the actual hands on the ground experience with a lot of your initiatives that you have in your community. So I want to encourage everybody to get registered to vote. If you're registered, make sure you go out and vote. Also, you can get more information as Hilerie continues on her campaign at some of her social media outlets. So her Instagram is HilarieLid _ for Brookhaven. We also have Hilerie for Brookhaven on YouTube and hilarielid.com. And then our Facebook would be, one second. You can just type in Hilerie Lid on Facebook and she will come up. So again, thank you everyone for stopping in. And if there's no further questions, I think we're going to wrap it up.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you for dealing with the technical difficulties. This is our first time and our first run with this, but I promise the next one will be better. And so I appreciate everyone for attending, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.